Hi everyone, so today we're going to look at the new farming features in Farmer's World, and this is a goodie. Like previously we just had mining, and that was basically, a very standard feature where you brought an item like a stone axe and you click mine and then you get a certain resource, and it was pretty quick. You just had to wait 60 minutes and basically you got your resource and you can just sell it straight away. So what's different? Well, they've added farming, which basically means everything's going to take a lot longer. Like, this is only 60 minutes. Though in a way, I kind of like farming because it means you don't actually have to come back to the game that often. Whereas with this, you got to come back every 60 minutes unless you have like a membership card which stores one mining. So that 60 minutes, if I store an extra attempt, that's another 60 minutes that I don't have to come back. So I can actually come back every 2 hours. And you can actually end up with 2 membership cards per resource. So for wood, I can have 2 membership cards, which actually adds 120 minutes instead of just 60 because I've got 2, and then add it to the original 60. So I actually only really have to come back every 3 hours. So that was pretty good. And then if we see here, the interface has stayed relatively similar. The only thing added was the map and the market. So with markets, you can actually buy the new in-game resources. You can buy the seeds much cheaper on the actual Atomic Hub market rather than the in-game market, and the same with the baby calves. If you know about the bug that came along in the update where it just gave everything for free for this briefest of moments, you'll know how it just messed up everything. But now it's being sorted out and everything is restored back to normal. Like, especially, baby calves, 1,000 gold a piece, and I think they minted like thousands of these. So, talk about a disaster in a game where people put a lot of money into it, real money, and all of a sudden you see, them giving out this for free because of this bug. So that was terribly shocking for the whole community in Farmers World. But now that it's fixed, everything is all, well and settled, and everything is back on track to this game being absolutely amazing. So in terms of farming, so if we go to the map tab, as we saw with mining, with that stone axe, and then now we have extras. We have planting, we have chickens, and we have cows, and yeah, like each one of them has their own unique items. So with farming, you actually can have corn seeds and barley seeds. I'm just focused on barley seeds because chickens and dairy cows, they only consume barley seeds to produce extra resources. So that's why I'm focusing on barley. Barley is also much cheaper. Barley costs 30 energy. So remember this energy tab up here. So you can also go to this Medium article and it sums up everything. So firstly, with this map, usually it comes in black and white when you first open it, and then you actually have to build a cow shed, a coop, or a farm plot, and then you basically put it into here, and then here you have to spend energy building it. So for a farm plot, it takes 8 attempts at 200 energy. For a coop, it takes 250 energy, 8 attempts as well. Whereas a cow shed is 12 attempts and it takes 300 energy. So it's really not cheap. Like, if to just build a farm plot, that's 40 food every attempt for 8 attempts. That's 320 food. And add 320 food at 2 wax a piece. That's at least 640 wax. So that itself is not cheap, just trying to build the farmer plot, not to mention you have to buy the farmer plot, or at least craft it using 200 wood and 120 gold. And just having these buildings is not enough. You also need the seeds for the farmer plots, and the animals if you want to use the coop and the cow shed. So we'll be simple and we'll just dive in and we'll talk about the actual things. Say for example barley seed. I'm planting barley seed. It takes 42 attempts, and as you can see in this card here, it requires 42 attempts and you can only miss 2. So the minute you miss like 2 attempts in a row, it starts deducting your claims. So I've made 9 here, as you can see. and if I miss like 3, I think it starts deducting off that. So you don't want to miss. Like, after I click here, it starts counting down from 4 hours. So it's only after 2 attempts that you miss that they start deducting. So technically that gives you 4 hours from initial click, and then after that, 1 attempt is missed, so that's another 4 hours, and then afterwards you got another 4 hours. But and if you don't exceed that 4 hours at the third time, then you do not actually miss 2 times. So you, in between, you actually have 11 hours and 59 minutes to do what you like. Because I think there are people going, how do I sleep when I had to click this every 4 hours? You don't actually have to click it every 4 hours on a dot. You can actually miss a attempt or even 2 attempts. But like, you probably don't want to anyway. Like, well, not 2 attempts. You just miss 1. If you miss 1 attempt, that's fine, because you can always come back from it. But yeah, like, preferably you want to just maximize your time and try to click every 4 or 5 hours, or maybe every 6 hours, because even if you do it perfectly, 42 claims done perfectly every 4 hours, that's 7 days. So if you can't do this perfectly, you're going to take longer than 7 days, but that's fine as well. Do what you can. But just be sure to know that if you miss 2 attempts, it starts deducting off some claims. And as for the charge time, it's 4 hours, and then afterwards you'll get Barley. Currently, the reward rate is what was it? 7.5. Yes, as we can see here. Rewards are 7.5, but that's the rate. You actually possibly could get something higher, because I've been using Dairy Cow, and I've been getting about 3 milk, whereas the reward rate is 1.5. There is a suspicion that they've actually changed it to that the rate that you get the reward at is actually 2 to 4 milks. So it really depends. So in terms of the reward, when it says reward, I actually think it's actually a little higher than they actually say in this. So potentially you could get 7.5 barley or more, or in the case of corn, 7.5 corn or more. And that's basically the gist of farming in terms of crops. You need to build the farm plot. You need to obtain some seeds, which you can do that on Atomic Hub, or you can obtain in the in-game market. As you can see, barley seeds 50 gold, which is quite expensive. I think it's like twice the price of what's on the Atomic Hub market right now. So buy there rather than this in-game store. This in-game store is really just for last measures. Like, if you really need it, it's there. Also puts a cap on the price so people don't overdo it. And the same thing with corn and barley. The thing is, you can actually buy it in this game cheaper than you can buy it on Atomic Hub. If you don't know what Atomic Hub is, that's the exchange that sells these resources, and the other one is Alcor, which sells the gold, wood, and meat. In terms of this, these are NFT cards. Atomic Hub specializes in the NFT cards. So basically, that's farming in a nutshell. It's, you get your building and you get the item that it requires. So for cows, for the cow shed, so first thing, you have to build the cow shed, and then afterwards you just put the cow into the shed, and then basically a dairy cow will produce milk every 1 day, assuming you can get your 6 claims within that 24 hours. So charge time is 24 hours, and claims required to get milk is 6. So 6 times 24 is 24 hours. So you can actually get milk every day from a cow, which is pretty cool. So you can actually start making profit immediately, rather than say like the farming plots where it takes like 7 days as minimum to actually get your resource. But of course the dairy cow is much more expensive. It's like 6,000 wax, whereas seeds are like 80 wax. Though it takes a lot less claims, 6 claims. So you kind of have to just do the math and see what's more worth it for you. Usually for beginner players, farming plot is probably more worth it, just because it's not as costly. But dairy cow is also one of those profitable parts which doesn't take too long, just takes one day. So yeah, as you can see, it's very repetitive in terms of farming or looking after cows, or in a situation of chicken, whereas chickens, to make eggs takes 28 claims, and for you can only do 4 claims a day. So even though the charge time is 3 hours, it still takes 7 days because you're limited by 4 claims a day. So yeah, I think that's farming for you. They've really made, like, you can look at the anime, like the pictures, and they're just really, really well done. In terms of the economics works really well. So you farm the barley and corn, and the chickens and the dairy cows will eat barley, and then they'll produce eggs and milk. And then corn will be really useful when it comes to breeding. So if you have a bull, which is really expensive, and then also a dairy cow, you can put it into the shed because there's only 2 slots for this. See, like, you can actually see the slots. So your cow, you've only got 2 slots. So the minute you put a dairy cow and a bull, that's the shed full up. And the same, and with chickens, you can only put 3 chickens maximum, and with plants, you can only do 8 seeds maximum. And you can only build 1 of each. There's no more slots for any more buildings. So it is literally just one building per account. Obviously, there's some people that have multiple accounts. Apparently, that's okay. But I'm playing it safe. I'm just going to keep my 1 account. Not that I can afford to have more than 1 account anyway. So yeah, it just really depends. So yeah, I think that's my experience in the game so far. Let me know if you've got any questions or anything that I have not covered, and I look forward to making more videos, particularly as we learn more about these features. So, because since they take so long, plants take 7 days, chickens, eggs take 7 days, cows, the milk just takes 1 day, so that's fine. Yeah, so overall, I'm enjoying the features. I think they're really well made, apart from that bug that came in the update, which literally destroyed the pricing of everything, and even the enthusiasm, because people were just like wondering what happened. I think everything's back on track, and yeah, and the game's going strong. Player growth is going strong, and I think with the farming features, a lot more people are going to be quite interested in this game going forward. So definitely worth getting into it, and it does have a high, capital cost. Like, people aren't familiar with spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars in a game, but this game has such a nice return that it's actually quite worth it. So definitely worth the consideration. Until then, good luck playing, everyone.